Today, we're going to talk about the object sitting on my desk here, and one important task that can help you or break you during the painting process. For more information and ideals on how to use this, see you guys inside. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are talking about one of the necessary and sometimes not pleasant tasks of masking. Well, what is masking, Mike? Why do we need to mask? Well, in all honesty, masking is a technique that is used to help either get straight circles or basically keep paint within a certain region and not get it into the other region. And that can be achieved through multiple different items or methodologies of doing it. And we're going to talk about a couple of methodologies and when sometimes to correctly apply that methodology. You guys can see in front of me on my desk, there's all kinds of stuff that can be used. And I'm going to explain each of those here just in a little bit further on to kind of help you with your painting process on future projects, or you may have a current project. But again, where is this used? Now, commonly I used to use this for straight lines. I used to love to paint naval vessels, Navy ships. And that red belt line and that black belt line at the bottom was always a pain to get straight. Because let's be honest, paint does what it wants. And you know, hand brushing or even a spray can, there's always overspray. Masking is one way to eliminate that problem and get perfectly straight lines, but also at the same time, not get paint everywhere where you don't want it. But there are caveats with this, such as if your paint layer underneath that you put the tape on top of it is not dry and not properly sealed, hey, guess what? If you use the wrong tape or wrong product, it's going to pull that tape off. It's going to pull your underlayer of paint off. And then you're really mad at it. So kind of the key things as I talk about each of these products, I'm going to talk about a little bit of some of the ideas of when you're going to properly use it and when it might be correct to use it and when it might not be correct to use it. Or with some of these items, there's a certain time frame you want to stay within. So kind of keep that in mind as we go through these products. This is the limited number of products. These are the ones I normally use. If there's a product not listed here, you know what? Run down and put that down in the comments down below, because I always am learning and willing to learn all kinds of new things, and you guys as a community are key to helping me learn as well as helping other members of the community learn. So without further ado, we're going to start talking about tape. Yep, tape. The most common thing you see when masking. House painters use it. Painters all over the place use it. In front of you are multiple items of masking tape material. You do not want to use duct tape. Do not use duct tape. Don't use Gorilla tape. Don't use any of that. It's going to rip your model apart. It's going to pull all the paint underneath apart. Painter's tape and masking tape are considered low adhesive bonding tapes. So what does that essentially mean? It means it's going to stick enough to stick, and that's it. Now, do these always give you a perfect line? No, they don't. So one of the things, especially over time, as I've learned painting, when I'm airbrushing or I'm spray painting, masking tape works really good at giving me a straight line. But sometimes, if there's a seam line or a panel line or something in there, the paint can seep underneath. So kind of keep that in mind as you go through with this. And if you're brush painting, this may not be the item that you want to use. So you've got your standard painter's tape, which is this is the painter's paint tape. One of the cool things about paint tape, as you guys can see here, it comes in multiple different thickness and thinnesses. That is kind of a critical thing sometimes when you're working on these projects, because sometimes you got to get a piece of tape into an itty bitty little spot. Now, a lot of times when you're seeing me use this kind of stuff, it's big projects. Like a project that's coming hopefully to the channel later this year of the space battleship Yamamoto. That is just big. Standard masking tape, unless I'm going directly on primer, I rarely use just straight masking tape. It's more adhesive than the painter's tape on it, so this is going to stick and this is going to pull under layers more if it's not properly sealed in. The products in front of you here, these are more your traditional model hobby paint. You guys can see we're getting down to some thin paint tapes here. And these you'll see from Tamiya and other brands. They put out and they even have individual dispensers that these can go in. This is just a big dispenser that I purchased from Temu that came with some of these, and I put some other painter tapes on here. So taping is the most common method you'll see out there. If you're wanting to do a circle or something, these can be kind of annoying because you got to do little strips all around to make the circular item. But these are the more common things that you will see is the painter's tape, and I'll put links to different thicknesses and stuff, and even the Tamiya dispenser down in the description down below. But these are your most common methods that you see to taping. Now, taping, it's one of those things you don't want to leave it on the model too long. The longer it's on the model, the actual sometimes more damage can happen when you want to peel the paint away. Basically, once you have it taped, you've painted your layer, you want to give that layer enough time to dry and then get that paint off your model, because the longer it is there, the more it is going to adhere, and that's the more risk you're going to have of damaging the layer underneath. Now, sometimes if I know I'm going to be doing something long term, I might, before I tape, spray a layer of varnish or clear coat in order to give a bonding layer that's not, and seal in the paint underneath. That doesn't always work, but sometimes, depending on what I'm doing, especially on a large project like a Star Trek saucer section or something like that, I may go ahead and seal the underlayer. That way I don't have as much pull away. So tape is the most common thing that you're going to see out there. One product I tend to use sometimes, especially if I'm doing a straight line, Post-it notes. Very simple little product. Especially if I'm doing a straight line, I may have the airbrush and the Post-it note, and I just keep moving the Post-it note. I've even put it up against a curve, cut the curve into the Post-it note, and then use the Post-it note and move in the paint process. That doesn't always work. It's not always 100% great, but it is one thing that I use in order to paint some of the items that I work with. So Post-it notes, tape, those are two items that are very commonly seen. Well, the Post-it note, I don't know if it's commonly seen. Tape, we know we see tape. We see tape, I've seen tape in all kinds of videos and other things out on the environment. So those are some of the items that you can use to help you get a straight line, curve. It just depends on how you apply the tape. Now, the next items are a little bit more flexible. But before I pull those out, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content you're seeing today, make sure you hit that like button, because that like button helps us out. Lets us know that we're making content that you want to see. Also, we now have a membership. As low as $1, you can support the channel and help us in basically acquiring all this cool stuff that you see on the channel and get reviewed and all those fun things that get built and those fun model kits. Your membership helps purchase those. So please consider becoming a member. That starts as low as $1, and each membership level has perks. But now let's get to the next items. Putty. Oh, buddy. This is AK's camouflage elastic putty. This is used, well, just as it says. It's a putty. So you can form, mold, shape. This guy has definitely formed on my can. I haven't used this in a little while. Form shape around an item. And where do I use stuff like this a lot? Camouflage. Making curved, organic patterns on a model. It has a light stick ratio. It doesn't transfer anything off your hands. And the paint drying onto it doesn't affect it at all. So this is a really cool item. It starts around $15. Multiple companies make it. This is the official AK one, but I use it a lot of times. And as you can see right there, it's showing you can mold it around and put a layer onto the plastic, and then spray around it to create a camouflage effect. Really kind of cool thing. Really cool putty. But the price point has always bothered me. Because why? Well, my most common thing I use, Silly Putty. So Silly Putty is a really cool product. It's really cheap. It works well with acrylic paints. I've never used it with enamels, so there is that caveat. I bought this at Dollar Tree for $1, $15. This stuff, I will use it, I will reuse it, and I will continue to use it. It works great for enamel paints. This is a brand new one. My Silly Putty is currently engaged, so I couldn't pull it away for this video. You can get Silly Putty anywhere. And just like how you've seen people put newspaper and it pulls off the ink, well, you know what? it works just fine on acrylic paints and enamels. I've never really had a problem of it pulling an underlayer of paint off. But again, if it's one of those things you have that concern, you lay down a layer of varnish, then you apply this, then you apply your next level of paint. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Silly Putty is a great tool. Especially, I use this a lot on basically figurines and organic models. Like if I'm trying to paint a face, but I don't want the spray to overspray onto the hair, I'll coat the hair in Silly Putty and I'll move forward. It comes off real easy. The only thing that I did notice is this putty, if left on, gravity does after time take an effect and pull it away from your model. I don't see that as much from the Silly Putty, but again, it's just kind of one of those things you got to kind of keep that in mind. Now, again, too, you do get more with the AK than you do. So basically $8 of this is what's in this. So you guys take that with a grain of salt. You take it the way that you guys are going to want to. Leave me your thoughts down below. Which one of these do you use? Have you ever used them? They're great tools to kind of take a look at. So the final items that I'm going to talk about today are liquid masks. So liquid mask is basically a brush-on mask. A lot of times these are used more over clear parts that you can, after you've painted, you can scrape it off easily and it'll come off and return your model back to what was underneath. So liquid mask, I use these a lot on transparent parts more than I do on traditional hard parts, because sometimes to get this off there usually is some scraping and other stuff like that, which can damage the underlaying layer as well. Liquid mask, put it on heavy, put it on. Where do I use this a lot? Gundam eyes. I use this a lot on Gundam transparent parts. So I've just started using the ammo and I'm loving it. I've got tons of the Vallejo liquid mask. I use this stuff all the time on transparent parts. When it dries, you peel up a little bit and you can just peel it away. But I like that it is brushable. So I can paint it onto the areas that I want. I can actually, once I've painted it on, sometimes I'll take an X-Acto knife to clean up the edges. And then I paint, and then I get in there with a pair of tweezers and I peel this away. And a lot of times a damp cloth will help any residual of this come off the clear part. So it works well on both of them. So guys, when it comes to masking materials, there you go. There's a quick brief. Here's some options. We've got everything from tape, post-it notes, putties, to liquid mask, to straight up just taking a piece of paper and running it around the edge while you're airbrushing. So keep in mind, these are all kind of options. I'll be honest, I've never found a perfect one. There's always a little bit of touch brush up, because if there's an indentation or anything along the line, sometimes that paint can get underneath. One of the things that I tend to do when I'm putting masking tape on, these are just silicone tip brushes. I will run it along the edge to make sure that I've got a good seal, and especially if there's an indentation or anything, I'll push that down in there to make sure the tape is hopefully down all the way in so I don't get that leakage. So silicone tools, that way don't damage the model, but you can get enough pressure to do that. So another tip of what I use. So also, if you're using the tape method, a really good strong X-Acto knife is your friend. So, because especially if you're doing a curve, you get it in there, you lay the line, and you cut. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you've got a method that you use, I'd love to hear alternative methods and try new things. So definitely leave that down in the comments down below. Links to all these items are down in the description down below as well. So, and if you have any questions, and if you want to see any of these used, keep an eye on the builds that are coming out on the channel, because you will see this material is being used in those videos, especially as we start the TIE Fighter project. You will definitely probably see liquid mask and the putties being used rather heavily. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, again, hit us with that subscribe. And I'd be honored if you considered joining our membership. So thank you guys. Have a good one. We'll catch you in the next video.